If 2020 showed us anything, it's that streaming services are very much a godsend for some of us, as it gives us content throughout the year even when the traditional ways of watching shows and movies doesn't come through. As such, platforms like Netflix had several major shows that blew people's minds with the stories they told. You all likely remember this happening with Tiger King, but the other royal pick that got a big surprising viewer turnout was Queen's Gambit. This show became one of Netflix's biggest hits ever, which begs the question of, what's next? Allow us to show you 7 things to expect in the Queen's Gambit Season 2. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. Summary of Queen's Gambit. In case you forgot what Queen's Gambit is about, allow us to give you a brief overview of the series and why it made such an impact on the people who watched it. The show was set in 1967, and it revolves around a young girl, Beth Harmon, who lost her mother in a car accident when she was 9 years old. Due to her mother's demise, she'd been taken to an orphanage where she learned chess from Mr. Scheibel, custodian of the building. She becomes brilliant in chess because of the drug given to her during her time in the orphanage. Later, she was adopted by a couple, Alston Wheatley and Alma Wheatley. As she was adjusting to her new life, she indulged in chess tournaments and surprisingly won at them. Season 1 ended on a satisfactory note, where Mr. Scheibel challenged her and she defeated him in 30 moves. The mix of drama, visuals, and chess, as well as incredible performances, made many who watched the show fall in love with it. Even the author of the book that this was based off of was floored by how it was shown. But that begs the question. Number 6. Is there even going to be a second season? Right now, we just have the 7-episode single season of The Queen's Gambit, which Netflix categorizes as a miniseries. So will we be getting more? We're not sure yet. Netflix has not announced any plans for a second season, and the show is based on a book by author Walter Tevis, so there would need to be more material in order to create more episodes. In an interview with Town & Country, Taylor-Joy said she adores her character and would certainly come back if she was asked to, but she thinks we left Beth in a good place. When she spoke with Decider about the ending of the series, the Queen's Gambit lead doubled down that she's happy with where the show ends. Speaking of her character's final scenes, Taylor-Joy said, "That moment for me, man, I cannot tell you how connected I was to this character. At the end of every one of those takes, I would just start crying. I was so happy for her." She added, "I think it's the first time that she's able to go, you know what? I deserve to enjoy this. Leave me alone for a second. I've worked my whole life for this moment, with no spoilers." Which is, I need a second. Let me live, in 2020 language. So yeah, I think that's her victory lap. So even the lead actress for the series seems to think it's a one-off, which is a little odd per se, given that Netflix does like to have franchises to bank off of. But they've also done plenty of one-off movies and limited series, such as Tiger King. Plus, there's a danger in trying to go beyond the source material. Number 5. Sticking to the story. Here's the thing. When it comes to shows that are based off of a key source material, there are 3 directions you can go with them in terms of adaptations. You can do what The Queen's Gambit did and do a full-on adaptation that goes point for point with the book. You can do what The Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter did, with mostly sticking to the books but adapting certain things and scenes so that they fit in the allotted screen time. Readers of both series will know what we mean and what was left out. And then there's Game of Thrones. Through no fault of their own, the showrunners for Game of Thrones series on HBO went from having all the source material in the world to not having any. Author George R.R. Martin had years to go and try to finish the books before the shows caught up to him, but he didn't. As such, Seasons 7 and 8 were very much based on a loose outline given to the showrunners by Martin, and then sprinkled in with their own story ideas and notions and characters and such. This is the reason why many fans agree that Season 7 and 8 were the worst of the series, because while there were great battles and character moments, there were also very questionable choices and scenes that just didn't work at all, including a very rushed series finale. What does this have to do with Queen's Gambit? Simple. The first season, if you will, followed the book from start to finish. There's no other story in this lineup to tell. So any second season would have to be completely written from scratch and yet try to maintain the feel of the first season. It's not impossible to be clear, but it would be difficult, and like Game of Thrones, it could lead to some questionable things. And while there absolutely would be a desire for a second season by fans, the last thing they want is to hear that their new favorite show got renewed just to get views and money and not be 100% as good as the first season. Number 4. What could happen in Season 2? But playing devil's advocate here, let's just say there is a second season. Would there be anything to go on and create a memorable story from? Well, maybe. Season 1 ended where Beth defeated the world champion of chess, thus earning the world champion title in all its glory. Moreover, we saw how she overcame her addiction to drugs and became sober. Therefore, it's speculated that her drug issues might resurface in Season 2 due to the pressure of winning and maintaining the title. This could play out in several ways, such as maybe getting a defeat from an unexpected opponent and wondering if she was only good because of the drugs, which is a storyline we've seen played in several series including Sherlock Holmes. What's more, now that she's the champ, she'll have a bullseye on her back that'll bring forth many new characters potentially that could challenge her in a myriad of ways, including pushing her mentally and emotionally as she tries to maintain how she's the best. Number 3. Life beyond chess? For Beth, everything in her life after a certain point was about winning at chess, which of course led to her beating the champ of the game. But now that she's the champ, there's a new question. What's next? Is there something more for her now that she's the queen, literally, of the game, and she's overcome the addiction that nearly drove her to the brink? While it may sound cliche, many athletes of all sports wonder what to do after they reach their time or even reach the peak of the mountain. Perhaps Season 2, with all its challenges and missions for Beth to overcome, might give her a new purpose in life, and thus end the show with her moving on from chess and making a new life for herself. Number 2. Epic chess matches. This one is a bit on the nose, but it needs to be said. Because one of the things that absolutely made Queen's Gambit a joy to watch was that the chess matches in the show were made and portrayed in a way to be extra impactful and fun to watch. In fact, they hired actual chess masters to go and help the cast learn how to play and make truly dramatic matches between Beth and the other characters. So if Season 2 was to come, you can expect even more chess matches of the caliber of Season 1, as to not do that would be foolish in all the ways that matter. Number 1. Being fine with the ending. The main problem with these predictions and guesses about Queen's Gambit is that there's no way for certain to know if there is a second season coming, even with all the popularity the show's gotten. According to the executive producer William Horberg, the ending was so satisfying, as he stated, "The last scene feels like a beautiful note to end the show on. So I'm not sure if I want to go on and answer that question." His statement indicated that he has no intention of resuming the show for a second time, which does seem pretty final in its own right. However, there is a chance it could return, but should it now, fans should absolutely appreciate the greatness that the show gave that made fans feel such a way. So even though it was only 7 episodes, it was a great 7 episodes. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the Queen's Gambit and what may happen with the series should it get a second season? Do you think that there will be a second season? If so, what do you think will be featured in it? What storylines do you hope get pushed to the forefront? Let us know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.